Welcome back. I am Pastor Doug. We now continue with part 69 in our series entitled A Survey of Paul's Letter to the Romans. For those of you who are following along with the Bible, we begin this session at Romans chapter 8, verse 31. There in the New American Standard Bible, we read, "What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who is against us?" When this question is put to us publicly, there are times we might feel pressured to put on our Christian face and answer with the expected "no one" response. Any less of a response might be perceived as an indication of a personal area of weakness or a lack of confidence in God. It's true that discipleship is a 24/7 calling, and that producing divine good requires being Spirit-filled, John 15:5. As much as we would desire to always be Spirit-filled, an honest self-evaluation would reveal that we are not. We are setting the stage for a rude awakening in a world of frustration and disappointment when we place unrealistic expectations on ourselves or others. This is not to condone or excuse any form of sin, but only to acknowledge the presence, influence, and manifestation of the fallen nature in all of us that gets the better of us from time to time. Romans chapter 7. When the Apostle Paul spoke of his internal struggle with the fallen nature, it was nearly 30 years after his salvation and towards the end of his earthly ministry. Accepting and being able to effectively deal with the whole package concerning self and others is a sign of both mental and spiritual maturity. Not caring what other people have to say concerning our progress or regress as an individual believer is a part of establishing and maintaining a relaxed mental attitude. At the same time, not caring what the Lord has to say about these very same things is a totally different matter. It is at that point that the ability to fend off the opinions of people can become arrogance towards God. You cannot turn a deaf ear to the voice of God and then expect to experience the peace that surpasses all understanding. Philippians 4:7, Hebrews 12:6. The relaxed mental attitude and internal peace it brings glorifies God the most when it is genuinely experienced and exhibited in the midst of the most intense adversity that Satan and his forces are capable of dishing out. Nothing is more frustrating for the enemy for them to throw their best shot only to have you get back up and continue on with the plan of God for your life. The integrity of a believer's salvation is never any greater or less than it was at the moment he or she was born again. The born-again believer, however, is in a constant change, either progressing or regressing at any given time in his or her post-salvation walk with God. There are no rest stops or neutral territories along the spiritual highway through the devil's world. During moments or even periods of regression, believers often put on the face that others expect to see, and we genuinely desire to have. Before one answers the "who can come against us" question posed in Romans 8:31, one must understand what is being said in the leading question that precedes it. The first and leading question, we find the pronoun "we" and the phrase "these things." In light of an understanding of these words, that the "who can come against us" question is being asked. Remember, this material was a letter written to the early believers in Rome. In a general sense, it could be said that the "we" refers to Paul, its author, and all of the recipients of the letter in the local church at Rome. Like any other local assembly, past or present, the membership would consist of believers at all different stages of spiritual growth in their individual walk with the Lord. Until we or anyone else has a firm grip of understanding concerning the elementary doctrines of the faith, we or they do not possess the capacity to understand the more advanced and difficult doctrines that follow. New believers, like infants in the natural realm, are only capable of holding down milk or basic doctrines. Anything heavier will eventually be rejected and ejected at some point in the digestive process. The solid food, advanced doctrines, can only be digested in the soul of a believer who has developed the spiritual capacity to handle it. Paul used this analogy in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 2. Based upon its chronological placement in Paul's letter, it is clear that the "we" of Romans 8:31 refers to type of believers, past, present, and future, who enter into and advance in the realm of discipleship. These things are the all-inclusive events of everyday life that God either sends or allows to take place, referenced in Romans 8:28. These things are what God uses to implement the training and development process of Romans 8:29 and 30. While the plan of God involves both blessings and adversity, it is in situations of adversity that believers have the greatest opportunity to advance. The ability to perceive and accept the adversity that God either sends or allows to come into our daily lives as being just as much a part of the plan of God as is the blessings, is another milestone along the road to spiritual maturity. Before coming to his final and concluding answer, Paul raises and answers a few more related issues to set the stage. In Romans 8:32, Paul teaches that because God already made the supreme sacrifice by sending his Son to save us, we can certainly rely on him to provide us with all that is necessary to successfully complete the course of our post-salvation spiritual lives.